Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dotun Abosede. I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I bring you valuable content that help you make the most of your migration journey in Canada. So if you're a newcomer to Canada or you're an intending migrant to Canada, you're intending to move to Canada, I'll advise you to please subscribe to this channel because I'm going to be bringing you very important videos that will help you understand the terrain and how best to navigate it for success on your migration journey here. So today I'm going to be bringing you the first of the 7 points I spoke about in my previous video. In my previous video, I had highlighted 7 important points that will, or tips that will help you be successful in Canada. And I had promised you that I was going to subsequently start elaborating on each and every one of them. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about the very first one that I spoke about, which is for you to rent a house and move out of your overtly expensive temporary accommodation. It is very, very critical that you consider this. Otherwise, you'll be spending a whole lot of money that you could have saved. Right? So just imagine that you're going to be staying in a hotel of $150 to $200 a day, and you're going to have to do that over 30 days. Over 30 days, that's about $6,000. There's hardly anywhere in Canada where you would be paying that in a rent for, say, a room house, 1 bed, 1 bath house. Right? Even a 2 bed, 1 bath house will hardly charge you that much. Right? So it is very important. That's why, in my opinion, it's an important thing to consider. Now, when you want to do this transition, right, from your temporary apartment or temporary accommodation to a long-term rented accommodation. And when I mean long-term, usually most of the leases are a minimum of 1 year. Okay, so there are variations to that. It could be less, it could be a little bit, it could be more, and all that. But averagely 1 year. So my advice to you is to look into that because you're going to thank me later. Now, to do this, I have some quick tips for you. The first tip is that you should assess your needs, right? My needs may be different from yours. You may have a need for 2 rooms and I have a need for 1. You may have a need for 1 and I have need for 3. So it's very important for you to know your own needs. Know the needs you have for the accommodation. Whether you have a whole lot of personal effects that you'd like to store away, or you have a big family or a small family. So all of these are going to help you to decide, on your need. Then the second thing I'll talk about is budgeting. You need to budget appropriately. And by that, what I mean is that you don't want to budget funds that will be required for 3 beds, 2 baths for 1, right? Those funds could actually be plowed into something else. And also, you don't want to be looking at renting a 3 bed, 3 bath house for the price of a 1 bed, 1 bath house. So that's why it's very important for you to budget appropriately. So do a research where you are, depending on the city, the province, the location where you are, to have at least an estimate idea of what is going to cost you to rent the kind of accommodation or house that you would like to live in. Then the third thing I'll be saying to you is that you need to find the right area. To find the right area, you need to consider factors such as, do I want to live close to where I work? Do I want to live close to a transportation hub? Meaning, do I want to live to a train, close to a train station, a bus station? Do I want to live close to my friends, my family members? Do I want to live close to people of similar interests? Maybe you play football on Sundays or other days, and then you go this far to go play the football. Do you want to move close to where you play your football or otherwise? So these are the different things you need to consider when you start, planning to move to a longer rented apartment, a rented apartment that will take you on a longer run. Then the fourth thing is you need to navigate the rental market. It's important that you come to understand the rental market where you live and then know how best to navigate it. And, because it is not unlikely that many homeowners may not be willing to rent out an apartment to you on your first try. It is very, very possible that you approach a number of them and they say no. And you'll be wondering why. Part of it is that you may not already have the requirements that many need to have comfort that you can afford your rent over time. So, as a standard in many places, they will require some months pay slip from you that, this is your job and this is your pay slip or pay stub, as the case may be, right? And then you need to provide, in some cases, up to 6 months of that to show consistent earning. Some may also require from you that you provide references. Some references, including references from your previous landlord. So some may also require that you provide your job offer, that they want to see that indeed you have a job. So you can't fault the homeowners because many have had their fingers burnt over time. So, but there are ways to navigate this. And one of the ways I advise you to do this is you can get for yourself an agent, a professional who can advise you accordingly. And when you have one, you can approach your agent and show to them a bank statement, for instance, that holds funds that can pay your rent for 12 months. For some, that will be just enough. That, okay, if this person has this much, then I can give them my house. They will pay their rent over time. For some, you might just need to tell them, oh, what if I give you a down payment for 6 months? These are just personal suggestions, some based on experiences and all that. So you can try them, you can explore them. And I have many testimonials. I have testimonials of people finding their first accommodation in Canada through this kind of means. Meanwhile, I can also tell you there are cities and provinces where you don't need to go all of that length before you find a house, even if you're a newcomer in Canada. So it all depends on your circumstance. So, but if you're having difficulties navigating this, these are very important tips for you to follow. So, I believe that if you do this, you would find at least your first home. And of course, by and by, you get started with a job or the other, and many of the requirements you have. So if 1 year down the lane you are not happy with what you have, you can actually move and find something else. Then the fifth and sixth thing, right, are just like bonuses that I'm going to drop today. The fifth is that be mindful of the lease agreement and make appropriate negotiations. Because trust me, everyone is going to negotiate to their favor as much as possible. So you may want to, while you also want to balance it out, you don't want to be excessive with that, but try and make sure that the conditions are those that will be helpful for you over time. That's about the negotiation. Then be mindful of the details of the agreement. It's very important that you know what's in the agreement before you put your signature to the dotted lines. And what do I mean by this? You need to know, for instance, who will be responsible for the payment of utility bills. In some cases, you find that you may need to just pay it all inclusive. Once you pay your house rent, the utility is included. In some, you pay your house rent separate, then you pay some particular portion of the entire utility for the house, right? So it's important you know what this is for you or in your own situation. Also, part of the reasons why it's important for you to know the details is that you also need to know how long the lease agreement is going to be for. Is it a 1 year lease? Is it an 18-month lease? Is it a 6-month lease? Is it a 2 year? Whatever the length of the lease is. So for instance, you plan that within the next 6-7 months, you want to move out to another province. Then our advice, do not sign a lease agreement for 1 year. For 1 year. Don't sign such agreement. Sign an agreement that matches what you are looking for. So that is going to be very important. And finally, that's the sixth tip here, is have a moving checklist. When you want to move, have a checklist of the things you want to put in place before you move, or the things you want to go along with when you move, just so that you don't leave so many things behind and you don't end up getting too stressed. So that's why it's very important for you to do that. If you do that, it makes the journey a whole lot easier. I hope you have enjoyed this time with me today. If you have any comments, please put them down for me. And if there's any content topic you'd like me to delve into, please let me know. If there's any particular questions you have, please send them in. Let them keep coming, and then I'll try my best to answer them as much as I can. As I would always say, always commit your ways before God and He will direct your path. Thank you so much. Till I come your way next time, stay blessed.